Shalom, fam. It's your moray, Jaydon Israel. Welcome to Real Talk Tuesday. Live stream is going up on a Tuesday. Hey, what it do? What's good, family? How is everybody feeling out there? If you're feeling good, let us know, family, that you are in the chat. Hopefully you are feeling good. If you can hear me, let me know, family. Let me know that you can hear me so we can get started with tonight's live stream. Yes, we have a topic that I've been holding back on. I did not want to do this for some time. I have been holding back, but I believe the moment has arrived. It is now time that I speak on Lashawan Qadash. Now, I promise you, this live stream is out of love. However, I got to speak the truth, family. I got to be real. I got to keep it 100. Shalom to Chastity Fawcett. Thank you for joining us tonight. Chastity, I have to do it tonight. I have to speak about Lashawan Qadash. Now, last video from last week, from last Real Talk Tuesday's episode, I responded back to Pastor Kelly Richardson of We Woke Now. And I also responded back to Brian Scholar. They made some claims about biblical Hebrew. They said biblical Hebrew is Yiddish. It's modern Hebrew. It's flawed. Blase. Last week, I had to address that. I had to respond back. So if you don't know about last week's live stream, I hope that you go ahead. When this live stream is over, go ahead and check that out. That way you have full context. And also, this video is also like a continuation from last week's Real Talk Tuesday episode. Now, before we get started with tonight's live stream, let me go ahead and get some announcements out of the way. You never know what's in the announcements, family. They are worth it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. You never know what's in the announcements. I don't want you to miss out, fam. On screen, right here, family, you can go right here where it says more on my homepage, or you can go to this video, for example, Learn Biblical Hebrew with me, Enroll now. That's right. The Biblical Hebrew courses are available. They are available for adults and also for children as well. For example, click on this video.
So happy.
Sorry about that, family, if you heard that. For example, below this video, just hit where it says more. Hebrew Foundations course, perfect for beginners, right here. Complete Biblical Hebrew course. And the bundle with discount. The best value to master Biblical Hebrew. Yes, I hope that you click on this one, family. You get the most value with the bundle and you save money. Also, go ahead and download those free goodies. They're absolutely free, family. Your favorite four-letter F word, free. That's right. The Lord's Prayer, Yahusha's prayer in Hebrew and English. Video tutorial and free PDF download. 30 words in Paleo Hebrew, Biblical Hebrew, and English. Video tutorial, free PDF download. The 10 Commandments in Hebrew and English. Video, PDF. The Shema prayer in Hebrew and English. Video, PDF. And the priestly blessing in Hebrew and English. The Benediction. You guessed it. Video and PDF. I made these video tutorials and I made the free PDF downloads. That way you have it right in your phone. You have it ready to go. We close out the Shabbat word, which is the name of the Shabbat service on Friday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. We close out the Shabbat word by reading the priestly blessing in Hebrew and in English. Tap in to your language, which is Hebrew. Need Hebrew Israelite apparel? If you like to be an ambassador of Yah, like myself, if you like to rock this t-shirt, like myself, this cool menorah, you can do so by clicking on the link. Just click on the link. And when you do that, fam, it takes you to Kavod. Kavod is the name of the Hebrew Israelite apparel brand. I can talk about it, but I'd rather show about it. On screen is Kavod, styled in legacy. Shalom, unlock 20% off your order. That's right, your order, not just an item, but your order. Those t-shirts, those couples matching t-shirts that you see on screen, you can get both those t-shirts together for 20% off. And I'll show you how you can do that momentarily. Let's go ahead and just scroll down slowly. There is so much apparel on here. Feast day apparel coming up. Yom Teruah, Sukkot. And there is clothing for women, men, and children. Clothing for regular days and feast days. Hats, beanies, do-rags, t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, long sleeves, jackets, hoodies, sweatpants, sandals, clothing for everybody. Right here in the announcements category. In the announcement category, right here, family. 20% off any item. Use this link. Go ahead and use this link. It's not a virus. I promise you. It's not spam. I promise you. Just go ahead and use this link to get 20% off your order. And as you see the last review, 5-star review right here. Right here, family. This customer really appreciated their hat. Shout out to Nathan. He bought a hat and he ended up getting another hat, fam. All praises to our great King. Let's get back to the announcements, which is found below this video in every video of mine. Every video you will find announcements and goodies. If you like to subscribe to the Patreon to get exclusive content that you'll find nowhere, and I mean nowhere on the internet, go ahead and subscribe and unsubscribe to the Patreon right here. Exclusive behind the scenes footage. Check out the latest blooper that I posted. Fam, it's hilarious. Books are normally free, but this one is not. Go ahead and check out the Patreon, laugh at my pain. But it's going to come with a cost at your expense and my expense. Now, you can also get digital downloads and behind the scenes footage and also advanced biblical teachings. Advanced biblical teachings. If you'd like to donate to the ministry, you can leave a tithe. Gotcha. See if y'all was listening. I was checking up on you because y'all be falling asleep on me now, and I hate that. You can leave a donation. That's right, donation through Cash App, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or the YouTube Super Chat. I do have a job, and if I didn't have one, you already know the deal. My wife would make me get one. She's an Israelite, but she's still black. In the words of Pac, some things will never change. I know I'm speaking the truth. All right, fam. Also, for example, you can just check out, go to my homepage, or just the top of the page right here. Click where it says more. If you want to see all my courses, click where it says Hebrew courses right here. Let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and share where it says courses. Let me share the screen. Right here, family. I am teaching Hebrew. The courses are all available. Learn Hebrew the right way, not the bumbleclot way. Right here, family. Through our Hebrew courses, we provide practical tools to connect deeply with the language and spirit of the scriptures, helping learners uncover profound insights and walk in righteousness and truth. Your support fuels this ministry and allows us to continue spreading the truth and love of Yah to all who seek it. Join our community, explore our courses, and let's glorify Yah. YouTube channel, Kavod, Hebrew Israelite Apparel. Email, if you have any questions, you can hit up my email. Hebrew courses, I recommend the bundle. Hebrew Foundation, Scripts, Meanings, and Writings. Biblical Hebrew Mastery, Complete Beginner's Course. Hebrew Mastery Bundle, Foundations and Biblical Hebrew. You get a discount with this, family. Kids Pictographic Hebrew Alphabet. I repeat. Kids Pictographic Hebrew Alphabet. Kids Paleo Hebrew Alphabet. And Kids Square Hebrew Alphabet. If you have any questions, hit up my email. Enroll now. Praise Yah. Y'all thought I was lying. Y'all was like, Jaydon, what's up with them courses though? Why you dragging your feet? You lying, Jaydon? No, I was waiting for the right time. I was waiting for the right time, and now the courses are available. And I will hold your hand through the process. Not literally now. Not literally. Unless you pay me enough. Then I might consider. But I'll make sure that I'll hold your hand figuratively, and I will guide you through it. And the classes will be small, and I look forward to teaching Hebrew. Also, last announcement. It's the most important announcement. If I don't say this, I'll probably be sleeping on the couch. And I don't want to do that. Let me go ahead and go back to the announcements right here. When you scroll down to the bottom of the page, watch all these videos. You know the drill. Watch them all like a junkie. And subscribe to my wife and I's channel, Jaydon and Jazz. That's terrible English, but I'm from the Bay Area. We make up words. My wife and I, we speak about black love, Trinity topics, celebrity news. It is a secular show. However, as Israelites, let's be balanced, not bumbleclots. I'll just read. I'll go to the top and read our schedule. Right here, family, our schedule. The Shabbat word, Friday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Write it down, take a picture. Right here, fam. Motivation Monday, Mondays at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. Real Talk Tuesday, open panel live streams, Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can also find it in the posts as well. I'll just go ahead and show real quick. I like showing off. Family. Humbly, that is. I like humbly showing off. See, I'm making it make sense. Real Talk Tuesday. Look, I'm not jawsing. That's the name of tonight's show. We discuss topics that we can't on the Shabbat, Trinity topics, Israelite culture, wealth, health, relationships, interviews, debates, and more. Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. We are live. The mistakes are absolutely on the house. I am not deleting them because I am too lazy to lift my finger, to lift a finger and delete the mistakes. Y'all used to my mistakes. I love my mistakes. The Shabbat word, Friday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. That's right. Shalom, shalom to Ima Bithia. Thank you for joining us tonight, Ima Bithia. Ima Bithia checks us out from work most of the time. Hopefully all things are tov with you. Thank you for joining us. Always supporting the ministry. Always giving edification and love and support. Shalom, shalom to Yah son. What's good, fam? Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a spicy one. I got to talk about it. This live stream is a continuation from last week's Real Talk Tuesday episode. I'll go ahead and tease last week's episode while I'm at it, while I'm in the mood of teasing and showing off. YouTube says excellent condition. Awesome. Just want to make sure we good, we Gucci. Right here, family. If you missed last week's live stream, if you missed last week's Real Talk Tuesday, shame on you. But it's okay. You can redeem yourself after this live stream. Right here, fam. Biblical Hebrew is not Yiddish. You know that's right. Biblical Hebrew is not Yiddish. Response to at We Woke Now and at Berean Scholar. I show and prove why Biblical Hebrew is not Yiddish. We Woke Now, Pastor Kelly Richardson and Berean Scholar were saying that Biblical Hebrew is Yiddish, modern Hebrew, and it's flawed. And in this live stream, respectfully, I prove them wrong. Respectfully. Look, I told y'all, family, I told y'all that I'm not nice. Nice guys finish last. Nice guys are losers. I was a nice guy and I kept losing. So I said, screw that. I'm going to keep it 100. But I'm going to do it with class, allegedly. Okay, I will. I will do it respectfully, allegedly. Okay, I will. At least I will try. I can't guarantee that because I do fall short, just like you do in the chat. You fall short, I fall short, we all fall short. That's true. We all do. Shalom to Uyayim, X Tav. What's good, King? You said I'm here listening today, Ak? Hey, well, if you change your mind, the panel will be open because I'm not going to be long-winded today. I will open up the panel. I will show a source tonight, but I will open up the panel. The name of tonight's live stream, Lashawan Qadash is flawed. I got to do it, fam. I got to speak on it. Proof. Oh, yeah, I ain't making this up. No need to. No need to lie. Open panel. That's right. Lashawan Qadash is flawed. Proof. Open panel. If you like to prove me wrong, I will open up the panel. You will have the opportunity. You will have the chance to prove me wrong. If you dare. Now, before I show my source, when I was learning about the truth in 2018, I remember watching the camps. Most of the camps that I'm aware of, they embrace the Lashawan Qadash. I would hear them say that Lashawan Qadash is the way how our ancestors spoke Hebrew. They would say, the camps would say, biblical Hebrew is Yiddish. It's modern Hebrew. It's made up by the J community. Are you familiar with those claims? That was the information that I received when I was learning about the truth. And I did not embrace the truth, or I should say the awakening. When I was learning about the awakening, I would watch the camps and I did not fully embrace them. I was like listening to them. I actually did not agree with them. At first, I was even against them. Like I would root for Kemet. I would root for those who are into the conscious community, into Kemet, into Egypt. I would root for those scholars to debunk the camps. But as time went on, I started listening to the camps. And one of the claims that they said is that Lashawan Qadash is the real Hebrew, and that the biblical Hebrew that you see on Bible Hub and on Blue Letter Bible, the Masoretic text, is Yiddish. It's modern Hebrew. It's flawed. It's made up by the J community. Now, these are the similar claims that I heard from the camps. And recently, this is a claim that I heard from last week from Berean Scholar and Pastor Kelly Richardson of We Woke Now. Now, 2018, I was learning about the awakening. I started to eventually learn about other Hebrew Israelites who were scholars. And I started to learn that biblical Hebrew is actually Tov. It is It holds up. It is good. It's Tov. It is not Yiddish. It is not modern Hebrew. And when I found that out, I eventually learned biblical Hebrew. That's right. Shalom, shalom to Marcia Hamilton. Ema, Marcia Hamilton. Shalom, shalom to you, Ema. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope all is Tov. I hope all is good with you. Thank you for joining us. So I just wanted to bring that out, that at first I was listening to the camps as I was new to the awakening. I did not embrace the awakening, but eventually as time went on and when I encountered other Israelites who were scholars, I eventually embraced the awakening and I embraced biblical Hebrew. That's right. That's right, Ibabithia. A lot of the camps, a lot of the stuff that I hear, let me fix that. A lot of stuff that I heard, because I don't watch the camps anymore. I have to think the last time I watched a video from the camps. I stopped watching them. Generally speaking, what I have seen, I do not agree with. It doesn't seem like they have the Ruach HaKodesh dwelling within them. At least the majority of them don't. Yelling on the street corner, cussing people out, speaking Lashawan Qadash. Okay. That was a cheap one. That was cheap. You can have the Ruach HaKodesh and speak Lashawan Qadash. You can. That was cheap. All right. I was just seeing if y'all was listening. So I like to say that disclaimer, this video will, or it might get under your skin. If you embrace Lashawan Qadash, this might make you feel a type of way. But I promise you, my motive tonight is not to piss you off. My motive tonight is to speak the truth and to share the knowledge that I have came across. So if it makes you feel a type of way, hey, just know that it was not my intention to hurt nobody's feelings. However, language is important. Language is how we make the whole world go round. Language is key. And if we're not speaking language correctly, how are we going to get anything done? How are we going to communicate? We will go back to ancient days. We would sound like cavemen. And I do not want to get it twisted, fam. I do not want to teach Hebrew that is confusing. And Lashawan Qadash is confusing. Not that I'm saying that speaking Lashawan Qadash makes you sound like a caveman, but it kind of makes you sound like a caveman. Speaking Lashawan Qadash kinds of sound like a Neanderthal. Oh, I can't believe I said that. How are we going to communicate with each other? How are we going to get anything done? What the heck are we saying? How can we have a conversation when we're speaking Lashawan Qadash? Now, you will hear me at times speak Lashawan Qadash, and that's colloquially speaking. I like to use Lashawan Qadash so that we can have a bridge. We can build a connection. However, normally I do not embrace Lashawan Qadash. No, I'm not being fake. I'm being strategic. Just like when I'm speaking to Christians who are not aware of the awakening, I don't say Yahusha HaMashiach right off the get-go. I say terms they're familiar with. I speak in terms that we both know what we're talking about. So when I'm speaking to Christians or those who are not aware of the awakening, I use terms like Jesus Christ. As uncomfortable as it is for me to say Jesus Christ, it is extremely uncomfortable. However, I say Jesus Christ to those who are not familiar with the Hebrew Israelite culture. Yeah, shalom means peace. And I say shalom to bridge a gap, not to be fake, but to bridge a gap. But technically, shalom is from the Lashawan Qadash vocalization system, from the vowel system that was created by the camps in the 60s, out of the One West camps in Harlem. However, ancient Hebrew, as they say, is Lashawan Qadash. They say Lashawan Qadash is ancient Hebrew. They say that the original Hebrew all had the ah sound. That is what is said. However, it has not been proven. Why? Because the proof has not been shown, or the proof doesn't exist. But I do say shalom. I do say Yahweh. I do say Yahweh Shai. But I do it with strategery. If I'm going to quote George W. Bush, I use strategery. That's why I do it. So that we can be on the same, we can be on the same bridge. Like we're walking on the same bridge. That's the word I want to use. We're walking on the same bridge. Okay. So I belabor the point. I will open panel momentarily. For those who are interested, if you agree, disagree, or if you're just not sure, if you'd like to join the panel and share your thoughts, I'll be happy to have a discussion with you. And if you want to prove me wrong, I will give you the opportunity to do so. Now, let's get to it. Let's go ahead and get to this source. I said I was going to be quick with the source. This is a short one. And I'm holding so much back. I'm holding back, fam. I got to hold back. I can't give everything away, but I will give this away for sure. What is the Lashawan Qadash? Here is a video right here. We can check out the video, but I want to read the article. Over the past few years, there has been a growing number of people who are recreating the Hebrew alphabet and claiming that the Hebrew pronunciations used today is not Hebrew, but Assyrian, and each ancient Hebrew letter was a syllable. Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, etc. They call this alphabet the Lashawan Qadash. Their pronunciation of the Hebrew phrase Lashawan Qadash. Lashon Kodesh, meaning holy tongue or holy language. Make sure you guys can see me. Okay, cool. There we go. Hallelujah. To illustrate their pronunciation of the Lashawan, I think they meant to say Lashawan. This article, by the way, is from Jeff A. Benner. Jeff A. Benner. He is a scholar, an author, and he knows Hebrew. That's right. He has written a lexicon, the pictographic Hebrew. He made a lexicon of the pictographic Hebrew, Jeff A. Benner. Now let's continue. To illustrate their pronunciation of the Lashawan Qadash, let's look at Genesis 1:1. According to the Masoretic Hebrew text, this verse is pronounced Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim wa et haaretz. Praise Yah. But according to this group, the original pronunciation was, and bear with me, fam, bear with me, Barashayat Bara Alahayam at Hashamayam Hashamayam Wat Harats. Thank you very much. There are several problems with this recreation of the alphabet. If you attempted to speak Hebrew to someone who knows Hebrew, you would be completely unintelligible and probably mocked for your pronunciation. Facts. Those who are making this claim have no evidence. I repeat, for those in the nosebleeds, those who are making this claim have no evidence, as it says in the Hebrew highlighter, no evidence to back up it up. That's how it's written, to back up it up. The evidence from ancient texts suggests that the pronunciation of the Masoretic text is correct, or at least more correct than this new theory of pronunciation. Facts. I agree. I'm highlighting that. Masoretic text is correct, or at least more correct than this new theory of pronunciation. The Masoretic text has Hebrew that has dots and points in it. Those points and those dots are called the nekudot. They give vowel sounds. They are like training wheels for the Hebrew reader. They help us. They give us clarity on how to pronounce Hebrew words. They give us clarity to know whether a word is a verb, a noun, an adjective, preposition, blase, blase, blase. The Masoretic text is not no evil, wicked invention created by the you-know-who. The Masoretic text is not Yiddish. It's not modern Hebrew. It's not created by the you-know-who. The Masoretic text is the Masoretic text. You can find the Masoretic text on blueletterbible.org. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing wrong with it, fam. Let's take the name Israel as an example. In Hebrew, this word is pronounced Yisrael. 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 But they believe that this was originally pronounced Yasharallah. As we hear all the time, Kwam Yasharallah. While there is no evidence to support this new style of pronunciation in the Hebrew highlighter, there is evidence to refute it. Here is the name Israel from the Masoretic Hebrew Bible, which dates to about 1000 AD. And by the way, he's referring to the Leningrad Codex, the first complete Masoretic Hebrew Bible, the Leningrad Codex, which dates about 1000 AD. However, the Masoretes or the Masoretes, however you pronounce it, tomato, let me know, help me please. The Masoretes started pinning down the vowel sounds, the dots and the points, aka the nekudot. They started pinning it down in the 7th century BCE. Oh, not BCE, Slicker. 7th century AD. The 7th century AD. I repeat, the 7th century. So the Masoretic Hebrew predates 1000 AD. It predates 1000 AD and goes back to the 7th century. Some sources even say goes back to the 6th century. The 6th century is like the 500s AD, and the 7th century is the 600s AD. So the Masoretic Hebrew is actually older than 1000 AD. It's older than the complete Masoretic Hebrew Bible, which is called the Leningrad Codex. I just want to give clarity, fam. And I'm going to say this all out of humility and love. To you, BR, Shalom. Shalom. I'm saying Shalom to bridge a gap. However, I got to share this with you, fam. And if you like, you can come on the panel and you can share your thoughts about Lashawan Qadash. But let me go ahead and share this with you, fam. Lashawan Qadash is flawed. Proof. Open panel. Shalom, shalom to the still man. What's good, King? It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope all is good with you. I hope all is good. In Hebrew, the word for good is tov. I hope that all is tov with you, still man. And tonight I'm covering a spicy one, a topic that needs to be spoken of. Lashawan Qadash is flawed. And BR, don't be shy, don't be scared. Feel free to give some pushback, respectfully. All right, let's continue with this article. Let's go ahead and read that sentence again. While there is no evidence. Let me read this from the top again. Let's take the name Israel as an example. In Hebrew, this word is pronounced Yisrael, Yisrael, Yisrael. But they believe that this was originally pronounced Yasharallah. While there is no evidence to support this new style of pronunciation, there is evidence to refute it. Here is the name Israel from the Masoretic Hebrew Bible, which dates to about 1000 AD. Yisrael. 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 There we go. Just like that, family. Yisrael. 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 The first letter is the yod, which is the Y sound. This is the vowel pointing for the letter I. This is the letter shin, identified by the dots on the left of the letter and pronounced with a s, as opposed to the letter shin, which is with a sh, as opposed to the letter shin with a sh sound when the dot is on the right. This is the vowel shiva. They say shiva, but I say shua. I say shua, they say shiva. Tomato, tomato. I'm not going to go there. Which is silent. Here is the letter resh with a r sound. Here is the vowel comets, representing the a vowel, the a vowel. This is the letter aleph, which is silent. This is the vowel tsere, representing the vowel pronunciation a. And lastly, the letter lamed with an L sound. Put it together. Yisrael. 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 Not Yasharallah. Not Yasharallah. Yisrael. Like you're drinking ginger. El. Yisrael. How am I confused, BR? How? Explain to us how I'm confused. Explain to us how the author, Jeff A. Benner, who is a scholar, explain to us how we are confused. I'll scroll to the top. That way you can see his name right here. I didn't write this article. If you're going to make a claim, I hope you can back it up respectfully. If you're going to just say, I'm confused, if you're going to make accusations, prove it. Right now, I am proving that Lashawan Qadash is flawed. It's flawed. Now, I do speak Lashawan Qadash from time to time, but that's to bridge a gap. That's to make a connection, to build a rapport. Just like when I'm speaking to Christians, I say Jesus Christ. However, we're keeping it a buck tonight. You know what the name of tonight's show is, right? Right, BR? That's right. Real Talk Tuesday. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're keeping it real. No, we're not mixing Lashawan with vowels. Not at all. No, I'm pronouncing the Masoretic Hebrew. I'm pronouncing the nekudot, which are the vowel pointings, the vowel sounds. Prove it. You're just making claims, BR. That's not good enough. You're actually causing confusion to the audience. The audience needs to be edified. We want to know why the article that I'm reading is confusing. We want to know why you are saying that I'm confusing when clearly I'm just breaking it down. I never said the Masoretic was Lashawan. I never said that. Lashawan Qadash is the vowel system that has the ah sound. Please pay attention to the article. And then the letter ayin, it has the I. For example, Yahweh Shai. That's Lashawan Qadash in a nutshell. It's really easy to explain Lashawan Qadash. It doesn't take much to teach it. It doesn't take much to learn it. And it don't take much to be confused while you're speaking it. Why? Because we can't have a conversation when only speaking Lashawan Qadash. I have yet to see a conversation on the street corners from the Hebrew Israelite camps where they're speaking Lashawan Qadash. I've never seen it. And if it's happened, the conversations must be extremely short and involve a lot of hand signals, a lot of body language. It takes a lot of body language and hand signals and pointing to communicate, because you cannot have a lengthy conversation in Lashawan Qadash. Yes, we can. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. I have yet to seen it. I've never seen it. I've seen phrases like shalom. I've seen phrases like tawada. I heard phrases like Yahawada. I've heard phrases like Bash, how's it go? Bashem Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakadah. Bashem Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakadah. I've heard phrases like that, but I've never heard a conversation, just phrases. I've just heard catchphrases. Now back to the debunking. Let's get it. The Lashawan classes, what classes? I just explained it in a nutshell. Lashawan is all the Hebrew vowel, all the consonants making an ah sound. All the consonants, they make a long ah sound, except for the ayin. The ayin makes the I sound. For example, Yahweh Shai. I just explained Lashawan. I just gave a Lashawan Qadash class. You welcome. I just taught it, BR, and I taught it on YouTube. Now let's get back to it. Hopefully you can handle this. Hopefully this information is not getting under your skin now. We're being honest tonight, because tonight is Real Talk Tuesday. I'm not preaching tonight. I am revealing information tonight. Now let's get back to it. Let me go ahead and scroll back to where I was. Let's go back to where it was. Right here. This article is almost done. It's pretty short. However, these vowel pointings were created by the Masoretes 1,000 years ago. And prior to this, this is how this word would appear. It would appear like Yisrael, right here, Yisrael, which is Masoretic Hebrew, not Lashawan Qadash. Lashawan Qadash is Yasharallah. Those who teach the Lashawan Qadash are making the claim that this would be pronounced Yasharallah. So how do we know if this was originally pronounced Yisrael or Yasharallah? I can't tell you how it was pronounced 3,000 years ago. That's fair. But I can tell you how it was pronounced 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, the Yehudim translated the Hebrew Bible into Greek. This Greek translation of the Bible is called the Septuagint. The LXX, the Septuagint. But when it came to names, the translators transliterated the names into Greek, which help us to learn how Hebrew was pronounced 2,000 years ago. In the Greek Septuagint, the name Israel was written like this and is pronounced Israel. 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 It is not Yasharallah. I'm gonna take a drink break for that. It's a drink break. Water break. All right. Nowhere, and I mean nowhere, in any ancient document do we find evidence supporting the Lashawan Qadash. But we find ample proof supporting the pronunciations found in the 1,000-year-old Masoretic Hebrew Bible. I am of the opinion that those who are using this style of Hebrew pronunciation are doing so in order to not have to learn or worry about rules of pronunciation. Oh, that was cold. You ain't right for that, Jeff. You ain't right for that, Jeff. Let me read that again. I am of the opinion that those who are using this style of Hebrew pronunciation are doing so in order to not have to learn or worry about the rules of pronunciation. Dang. That was grimy. They are making a shortcut to prevent themselves from having to learn how to pronounce Hebrew words correctly. Go ahead and join his email list and get new insights into the language and culture of the Bible. Plus, get a free ebook. This was written by Jeff A. Benner. Salute. That was my ghetto shofar blast. I knew it was going to be quick. I knew it was going to be quick to explain that Lashawan Qadash is flawed. This one was going to be an easy one. You said you're talking about Yiddish speakers. We're not talking about Yiddish. We're talking about biblical Hebrew. Let me show you biblical Hebrew. I'm not talking about Yiddish. I don't know how to speak Yiddish. By the way, if you watched last week's video, BR to the end, you would know that I showed and proved that Yiddish came after biblical Hebrew. That's right. Do not conflate the two, like Pastor Kelly Richardson and Berean scholar. Do not conflate the two. Do not conflate Yiddish with biblical Hebrew. Don't get them twisted. They're not the same. Biblical Hebrew predates Yiddish. Biblical Hebrew predates the conversion of the Khazarian Empire. Facts. I showed and proved that last week. Biblical Hebrew predates modern Hebrew. They are not the same. Why am I yelling? I don't know why I'm yelling. I get passionate. Family. But here's just a little bonus right here. I wasn't even planning to do so, but here's the bonus. I'm going to go ahead and show you Masoretic text, Biblical Hebrew. I'm not going to read Yiddish. I'm not going to read modern Hebrew. I'm going to read Biblical Hebrew. Please do not get them twisted. Please do not get those two confused. They are different. Shalom, shalom to El Buddha. Yes, Araya did invent. I'll put it this way. Araya it is claimed that he invented it. It is claimed, yes. I've seen a source from Wikipedia, but I haven't seen another source from that. I've seen a source on YouTube, but I've looked on the internet. I haven't found a source that I want to show on screen. I try not to use Wikipedia. Sometimes I use it just to have a beginning argument. I use it at the beginning, but I don't use it as the meat and potatoes of my argument. But I use Wikipedia lightly. But on Wikipedia, it says Araya invented Lashawan Qadash. Araya is from the One West camps of Harlem. So El Buddha, you are correct from my research. You are correct. We're both seeing the same thing. However, I want to see a source outside of a YouTube video and also outside of a Wikipedia source. Because Wikipedia is open source. It's open. I can add to Wikipedia. You can add to Wikipedia. But I like to use sources that are credible. But yet it is coined. He is coined for creating. Lashawan Qadash. Araya is coined for creating. Lashawan Qadash. That's interesting, BR, how we already answered, you're asking a question that we already answered. We already answered it. Biblical Hebrew has the Masoretic Hebrew. The Masoretic Hebrew is referred to as the Biblical Hebrew. The Masoretes, they use vowel pointings and they allow us to pronounce the word correctly. So let me go ahead and share on screen and answer BR's question, which I was going to do anyway. I was going to share the screen anyway. I just wanted to say shalom to those in the chat. We already covered. Okay, I don't know what you meant by that, El Buddha. I'm not sure. You said it's a knockoff. What's the knockoff? And can you prove it? If you're saying Biblical Hebrew is a knockoff, can you prove it? All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Deuteronomy 6:4 says, "Hear, O Israel, Yehovah, our God, Yehovah is one." In Hebrew, right here it says Masoretic text. Masoretic text right there on the left side. Do you see that, family? It says Masoretic text. The Masoretic text dates back to 6 to 7 century, back to the 6th or 7th century AD. But the complete written Masoretic text, the Leningrad Codex, dates back to 1000 AD. Now, the Biblical Hebrew says, Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah Echad. That is how you know the difference. BR. I'm going to single out the word Yisrael. Yisrael. You know how you know the difference? By enrolling in my Hebrew courses below the video. I will teach you the difference. My honor, my pleasure. All glory to Yah. If you like to know the difference, you said, how do you tell someone their accent is wrong? by enrolling in my Hebrew course. Then you will be able to tell if somebody's accent is wrong. That's how. I'm going to pick on the word right here. Yisrael. Right here. Israel. Yisrael. Also, let's scroll down. Let's go to the LXS. The LXX. Right here. Israel. Here's the word for Israel right here in Greek in the LXX. It says transliteration, Israel, from the root. Can you guys see that? G2474. Hopefully you guys can see that. Right here. Right there, fam. Let's click on it. Israel. Israel, right here. Of Hebrew origin. Israel.
Strong's G 2474. Israel. Israel.
Israel. If Lashawan Qadash was around, how come the translators of the LXX, aka the Septuagint, why didn't they translate, or transliterate, I should say, transliterate Yisrael into Yasharallah? I'm asking. Remember, the Septuagint, the LXX, is in Greek. This word you see on screen is Greek. This is the Greek word for Israel. How come it does not say Yasha'al? How come this word uses the sound right here, but it doesn't use the sound right here? Let me know, fam. Why doesn't it use the sound right here? It uses the sound in the middle, but it doesn't use the sound right here. It doesn't use the sound before, and it does not use the sound after. The word Israel in Greek, right here, is pronounced Ra, El. Just like Jeff A. Brenner was saying, the word Yisrael, which is Hebrew for Israel, was transliterated by the translators from Hebrew to Greek. And when they translated the word Israel from Hebrew to Greek, why didn't they just use all sounds? How come the word Israel in Greek only has the sound in the middle? How come it doesn't have the sound in the beginning and in the end? This is proof that Yasharallah, that pronunciation, is flawed. Of Hebrew origin, right here, Israel. If the family or descendant of Israel, or descendants of Israel, the nation of Israel. Concordance results showing using KJV. Let's go to view OT results in LXX Greek concordance. We've already did that, but we're just doing it again. Let me scroll down. I mean, it's all throughout the text, but I'll go ahead and just go back to Deuteronomy 6:4. right here. Sorry if this hurts your eyes, fam. I didn't mean to do so. Let me go off screen. Let me go off screen. There we go. Make it better for everybody. It hurts my eyes when I scroll fast. Right here. Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, Yehovah our Elohim. Yehovah is one. Right here, Yisrael. In Hebrew, Yisrael, not Yasharallah, Yisrael. The vowel pointings tell us how to pronounce this word. The vowel pointings created by, no, let me repeat that. The vowel pointings pinned down. There we go. That was pinned down by the Masoretes. Why? Because the vowels already existed. They're just pinning down the vowels that already existed. They were pinning down vowels they were already familiar with. So the Masoretes, they pinned down the dots that you see, the vowel pointings, the nekudot. That's how we know how to pronounce a word, through the dots. They are like training wheels for Hebrew readers. I repeat, they are like training wheels for Hebrew readers. There we go. They help us. They're helpers. Yisrael. Now, when we scroll down, that was the Masoretic text, but when we scroll down, LXX, Septuagint, right here. It's right here. Israel.
Strong's G 2474. Israel. Israel.
All glory, all praises, all kavod to our great King. And please believe it, there's a lot more where that came from. I'm going to land right there. I'm about an hour in this video. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and open up the panel to those who like to come on. You like to share your thoughts. If you speak Lashawan Qadash and you like to edify the audience, you like to edify me, I will give you the opportunity. I just say, please be respectful. You can be passionate, but don't be rude. Don't be a bummerclot, because I will block you. I will block you. I'm not nice, but I will allow you on because I do like to hear different perspectives. I like to learn. So let me go ahead and get the link. Join panel now. BR, here's your opportunity. You get the opportunity to edify the audience. You get the chance right now to give some clarification. All you got to do is click on that link and join the panel. I won't even debate you. I'm not a master debater. Nope. Shout out to marriage. That's right. Get married, fam. Get married. Marriage is beautiful. Marriage is tov. Marriage is holy. I ain't got time to be a master debater online. Debating people, debating bumbleclots all day. No, that's not my thing. If I'm going to debate, it better be worth it. Now, this topic tonight is worth debating. Why? Because it's over language. Language is so important. I don't know if I can stress how important language is. And if we're teaching language the wrong way, we are adding confusion. And as the children of Israel, let's not be about confusion. Let's lift each other up. Let's build each other up. Let's edify one another. And even though this may seem a little harsh, because I'm speaking about Lashawan Qadash, and I know a lot of us like to use terms that are in the Lashawan Qadash, I have to be honest. It's one of the reasons why I hesitated continuing preaching. As a preacher, sometimes you're loved, sometimes you're hated. And my intentions is not just to hurt your feelings, fam. I'm not saying you can't use Lashawan Qadash. I'm not saying that. Please do not get me twisted. That may seem like that's the impression. It may seem like that I'm saying, don't speak Lashawan Qadash. I am not saying that. I will continue to speak Lashawan Qadash. I will continue to say Shalom and Yahweh and Yahushai. However, Lashawan Qadash is flawed, and there is no evidence that it dates back to ancient Hebrew, to the Paleo Hebrew. There is no evidence, no definitive evidence that the Paleo Hebrew was pronounced as the Lashawan Qadash. Just assertions, just opinions, no definitive proof. I said I was going to show the video. I'm not going to. From that Jeff. You know what? I might show it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let me go ahead and pull it back up. I wasn't going to, but why not? Let's go back. Lashawan Qadash. And feel free to join the panel. You know the topic of tonight. Lashawan Qadash is flawed. But I'm not saying you can't speak Lashawan Qadash. I'm not saying that. But if we want to be technical, it's not what you think it is. It's not what your teacher said it was. It's not what your teacher says it is. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh, my bad. Since sharing the screen. There we go. Fair use, fair use, fair use. What is Lashawan Qadash?
Over the past few years, there's been a growing number of people who are recreating the Hebrew alphabet and claiming that the Hebrew pronunciations used today is not Hebrew, but Assyrian, and each ancient Hebrew letter was a syllable. Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, etc.
Okay, the first letter of the Paleo Hebrew alphabet is Ah.
Fam, this is Lashawan Qadash right here. This is Lashawan Qadash. There we go. That way you guys can see the alphabet. Let's get it.
Second, the first.
Ga, da, ha, etc.
Okay, the first letter of the Paleo Hebrew alphabet is Ah. Second letter is Ba. The third letter is Da. The fourth letter is Da.
Bayath. I'm going to write it down here for you to see it. Ba. Bayath.
We have the Taza, the next character, Taza, and there's Tazad, to get understanding. Tazad, trail, journey, chase, desire, righteous, or harvest.
Stone. In Shalom Vakasat Laha Bakyar with Shalom, in Hebrew is peace. Wa is and. Kasad is mercy.
Yah. Yah is for Yasharala.
Malak wath ka. Malak wath ka. Your kingdom. Malak wath is kingdom, because the word malak is king. All right, here it goes.
Malak is not king. Malak is messenger, as in angel. Malak is messenger. King is Melech. Melech. Melech is king. Malak, or whatever he said, is messenger.
My Yasha Allah, Yahweh Allah Hayanawa, Yahweh Akkad. All right.
When you look at the Paleo Hebrew, when it was written, you didn't see no vowel points. When you look at the Assyrian, all right, when the so-called Jews use, you'll see different vowel points and all that crap. All right, you don't need that. All you need to know is how to pronounce each character. All right, and all Hebrew words are formed from these letters of the alphabet, and nothing outside of that.
They call this alphabet the.
No need to diss nobody. I'm a Hebrew Israelite brother that's all about peace, unity, and love. I'm not no killer, but don't push me. I know I heard that somewhere. Come on now. I'm an Israelite, but I'm still black. You know, that's facts. I'm mulatto. I make some light-skinned family. So I say this out of love. Just because we disagree with other communities at times doesn't mean we have to diss other communities. So this brother's approach right here, referring to what he thinks is modern Hebrew as crap and other stuff that he said, we don't got to do that. Let's be about the fruit of the Spirit. Let's be the light of the world. Just because we disagree does not give us a reason to be disrespectful. Let's continue.
Lashawan Qadash, which is their pronunciation of the Hebrew phrase on. They call this alphabet the Lashawan Qadash, which is their pronunciation of the Hebrew phrase Lashon Kodesh, meaning holy tongue or holy language. To illustrate their pronunciation of the Lashawan Qadash, let's look at Genesis 1 verse 1. According to the Masoretic Hebrew text, this verse is pronounced Bereshit bara Elohim et hashemayim ve'et haaretz. But according to this group, the original pronunciation was Bara shayat bara ala hayam at hashemayam vat harat. There are several problems with this recreation of the alphabet. If you attempted to speak this kind of Hebrew to someone who knows Hebrew, you would be completely unintelligible and probably mocked for your pronunciation. Those who are making this claim have no evidence to back it up. The evidence from ancient texts suggests that the pronunciation of the Masoretic text is correct, or at least more correct than this new theory of pronunciation. Let's take the name Israel as an example. In Hebrew, this word is pronounced Yisrael, but they believe that it was originally pronounced Yasharala. While there is no evidence to support this new style of pronunciation, there is evidence to refute it. Here is the name Israel from the Masoretic Hebrew Bible, which dates to about 1000 AD. The first letter is a yod with a Y sound. This is the vowel pointing for the letter I. This is the letter sin, identified by the dot on the left of the letter. and is pronounced with an S sound, as opposed to the letter shin with an SH sound when the dot is on the right side. This is the vowel shva, which is silent. Here is the letter resh, which is an R sound. Here is the vowel kamatz, representing the ah vowel. This is the letter aleph, which is silent. And this is the vowel tsere, representing the vowel pronunciation A. And lastly, the letter lamed with an L sound. However, these vowel pointings were created by the Masoretes 1,000 years ago. And prior to this, this is how this name would appear. Now, those who teach the Lashawan Qadash are making the claim that this would be pronounced Yasharala. So how do we know if this was originally pronounced Yisrael or Yasharala?
Let's go.
I can't tell you how it was pronounced 3,000 years ago, but I can tell you how it was pronounced 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, the Jews translated the Hebrew Bible into Greek. Now, this Greek translation of the Bible is called the Septuagint. But when it came to names, the translators transliterated the names into Greek, which will help us to learn how Hebrew was pronounced 2,000 years ago. In the Greek Septuagint, the name Israel was written like this and is pronounced Israel. It is not Yasharala.
Remember, family, we just covered this. Remember, I showed on Blue Letter Bible. I showed on Blue Letter Bible. I showed the Septuagint. I showed the word Israel in Greek, transliterated from the Hebrew, Yisrael. I showed the Strong's Concordance according to the Thayer's Greek, the Thayer's Greek lexicon. Yes, I showed using Salika View. I showed using the New Testament results from the Thayer's Greek concordance. No, I said New Testament. I'm tripping. I'm talking about the Old Testament. Let me go back and quote it correctly, because I already showed and proved this, fam. Yes, view Old Testament results in the LXX. View Old Testament results in the LXX Greek concordance. Yes, I show this, and I'll just share on screen what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. We already went through this. I showed and proved. I showed the word in Hebrew. I showed the word in Hebrew, which is Yisrael, and I showed the word in Greek, which is Israel, Israel, Israel. And I used Deuteronomy 6:4 as a reference.
Nowhere in any ancient document do we find evidence supporting. Nowhere in any ancient document do we find evidence supporting the Lashawan Qadash. Nowhere in any ancient document do we find evidence supporting the Lashawan Qadash.
I don't think they heard you. I don't think they heard that. I think you need to repeat.
Find evidence supporting. Nowhere in any ancient document. Nowhere in any ancient document do we find evidence supporting the Lashawan Qadash. But we find ample proof supporting the pronunciations found in the 1,000-year-old Masoretic Hebrew Bible. I am of the opinion that those who are using this style of Hebrew pronunciation are doing so in order to not to have to learn or worry about the rules of pronunciation. They are making a shortcut to prevent themselves from having to learn how to pronounce Hebrew words correctly.
But that's all right. You don't have to take a shortcut. And guess what? You can learn Hebrew. You don't have to avoid Hebrew like those who speak Lashawan Qadash and hate the biblical Hebrew and prejudge the biblical Hebrew and misrepresent the biblical Hebrew by saying that it's modern Hebrew and that it's Yiddish. You don't have to make excuses for not learning Hebrew. You do not have to make excuses for procrastinating. You can learn Hebrew now. And I can show you how you can do it. I got you, fam. I am honored. I am honored to teach biblical Hebrew the right way. You can learn Hebrew. You will learn Hebrew. All praises, all glory, all kavod. Kavod is the Hebrew word for honor, splendor, and glory. All glory to our great King. All you got to do is go below the video and enroll in those Hebrew courses. I have courses for adults and for children. All praises to our great King. All glory to Yah. Join panel now. For those who like to join, I'm going to give it some time, depending on how we're going to go, depending on how it's looking, depending on how the chat is looking, depending if we should have anybody on the panel. I mean, I'm leaving the invitation out here. If you'd like to speak on it, here is your opportunity. Now, I will debate this topic. Not today. We can have a build, we can have a discussion, but a debate? Nah. If we're going to have a debate, it better have rules. It better have a moderator. It better be organized. I prefer to teach. I prefer to share information and build with others and learn from others. But I will debate this topic. If it calls for it, I will debate this topic. And it's not even a debate. I'm defending biblical Hebrew. I'm defending biblical Hebrew. It's not a debate. But guess what? You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe Jeff A. Benner. You don't have to learn biblical Hebrew. I hope that you do. I encourage you to. It may seem hard. It may seem intimidating. Hey, it may even seem like it's not even our language. We're going to be honest. That's what I thought when I first encountered teachings from the camps. They were saying that biblical Hebrew, the letters are Yiddish, the pronunciation is Yiddish, it's German. This is the stuff that I would hear. So I had the impression from them that biblical Hebrew is German, it's Yiddish, it's modern. However, when I looked into it for myself, I found out that all of those claims are false. Biblical Hebrew is Afro-Asiatic. That's right. Biblical Hebrew is African. That's right. Biblical Hebrew is our language. I encourage you to learn biblical Hebrew, family. You get to understand what the Bible is really saying. You get to understand what the majority of the Bible is actually saying. Most of the Bible was written in biblical Hebrew. Not only do you get to embrace your language by taking it back, by learning biblical Hebrew, also, you get to learn how to defend yourself. You get to debunk Christians. I know a lot of brothers like debunking Christians, but it comes with it. It's part of the perks. It's part of the package for sure. It's one of the perks that you get from learning biblical Hebrew. You get to debunk a lot of claims that these Christians are making. Not all Christians, but basically all Christians. Well, I mean, most of them. I don't like to throw anybody all in the box, but because there are Hebrew Israelite Christians, they do exist. I'm not no Christian. I'm not anymore. I used to be a Christian. I grew up a Christian, but I ain't no Christian no more. But you get to see what the Bible is actually saying because you know how to break it down. You know how to read it. You know how to understand it. You know how to parse it. There's so many advantages in learning Hebrew. You get to learn what the Bible's actually saying. You get to debunk people. Learning Hebrew is like a martial art. It really is. It really is. Once you start reading the biblical Hebrew and explaining the Hebrew and parsing it, your opponent, you can hear their heart bump through their chest. You can hear it thump hard through their chest. You can hear their breathing speed up. You can see their face in worry. You can see the fear from their faces. I mean, it's not a pleasure of mine. Okay, maybe kind of is. Okay, maybe at times. Maybe it depends on who I'm speaking to. But that's not why I learned biblical Hebrew. But it's one of the reasons. And it's one of the reasons why you can learn biblical Hebrew. You get to give clarity. And you get to know what the Bible is saying. And you get to connect back to your native tongue. So I will continue to go on and use Lashawan Qadash. I will say, you will hear me say terms like Shalom, Yasharallah. I say it to build a connection. And also, Lashawan Qadash, you can look at it this way. Even though it's flawed as a vocalization system of Hebrew, at least it uses the Hebrew letters. It pronounces them wrong. However, at least it uses the Hebrew letters for the most part. And you can look at Lashawan Qadash like this. Slang. I view Lashawan Qadash as slang. As melanated people, as black people, we speak slang. At least a lot of us do. A lot of us do. We know how to make something out of nothing. And I still speak slang. Even though technically it's not English, it's still beautiful in its own way. So even though Lashawan Qadash is flawed as a language, Lashawan Qadash as slang is beautiful in its own way. But hold on, Jay. You're saying it's beautiful, but now you're saying it's flawed. It's beautiful in regards to being a slang. It's slang. So let's treat Lashawan Qadash like Ebonics, like slang. Shalom to me is slang for shalom. Yasharallah is slang for Yisrael. And here's the cool part. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with every word that I say. However, let's do this. Let's do everybody a favor. Let's agree to disagree. Let's agree to disagree respectfully. Now, I was passionate tonight. However, by no means, family, was I trying to be disrespectful, just passionate. However, the open challenge is there. I will debate on this topic. If anybody would like to debate, Lashawan Qadash against me, I'm willing. I am willing to debate, defend, and prove that biblical Hebrew is solid. It's Tov. It's not Yiddish. It's not modern Hebrew. It's not German. It's not created by the you-know-who. It's none of those things. Biblical Hebrew is biblical Hebrew. The vowel pointings that were pinned down by the Masoretes, they were already aware of how Hebrew was spoken at that time. All they did was pin down the vowel points. The vowel points are like training wheels for Hebrew readers. They give clarity. They help us. They're helpers. They're on our side. But you don't got to believe that. You can continue and believe that biblical Hebrew is Yiddish and all that other stuff, and that Lashawan Qadash is the ancient Hebrew, aka the Paleo Hebrew. You have the right to be wrong. I repeat, you have the right to be wrong. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. Seems like nobody want no smoke today. Hey, that's cool for me. I get to get off early. I mean, I love hanging out with you, family. I love kicking it. I really do. It's one of the reasons why I started this ministry, is so that I can hang out with y'all and we can have conversations like this. Now on Shabbat, I'm preaching. I'm preaching the word because I'm a preacher. Like I said, I'm not a master debater. It's not my thing. I'm a preacher. I'm a more, which is teacher in Hebrew. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes to see how we're working. If nobody wants to come on, then I get to end my night off early. All praises to our great King. Also, just want to make it clear. In no way was I trying to disrespect Pastor Kelly Richardson. I have a lot of respect for Pastor Kelly Richardson. He is one of the reasons why I went to Savannah, Georgia, to see the first African Baptist church of Savannah, Georgia. That church is the first black church in North America. He inspired me to visit that church, to see the history of the church, to learn about the history, to see the history that's there. It's so amazing. I really encourage you, family, to make the visit. Pastor Kelly Richardson of We Woke Now, he is in a documentary created by Hebrew Nation Building. It's on Tubi. You can watch it on Tubi right now. It's called Reclaiming the Throne. And in that documentary, he is in the first African Baptist Church of Savannah, Georgia. And he is sharing exclusives from that church. It's amazing, family. You have to do it, especially if you are of African descent. You have to make the visit. And if you're not, I encourage you to make the visit as well. So Pastor Kelly Richardson, I give him his flowers for that. He encouraged me to make the visit. Me and my wife, we went, not this summer, but the summer before. Not only did we go, but we also recorded the vlog. Let me go ahead and show you. And this was all inspired by Pastor Kelly Richardson. I'm giving credit where it's due. The problem that I'm having is that he's saying that biblical Hebrew is Yiddish, is modern Hebrew, it's flawed, it's German. Those are the problems that I'm having. So this is over language. We disagree over language. Let me go ahead and go to playlists. It's in my life and vlogs. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Right here, family, the second video. Savannah, Georgia vlog. First African Baptist Church, Hebrew. Proof Black Americans are Israelites. In that church, you will find Hebrew written on the pews by our ancestors. And that's proof that our ancestors knew Hebrew. Proof that our ancestors were Israelites. And it's proof that we are Israelites. So I give credit where it's due, family. We just disagree over language. And it's important. My courses are for adults and children. It is my passion to teach Hebrew. And let's tap into our language the right way. Let's not teach our children the wrong way. Let's not teach one another the wrong way. If you want to teach Lashawan Qadash, you have every right to do so. But the way how I see it, it's slang. If you want to teach Lashawan Qadash slang, that's on you. That's how I look at it. But as a language, we must learn biblical Hebrew. Lashawan Qadash causes a lot of problems. Pastor Kelly Richardson, he calls it Lashawan Qadash. He doesn't say Lashawan, he says Lashawan Qadash. Tomato, tomato. It's still the same thing. He believes the ancient Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew, aka the Paleo Hebrew, was pronounced with all sounds, like the Lashawan Qadash. The problem with that, how do you know the difference between a noun, a verb, an adjective, etc., etc.? When I say Adam, what am I saying? I will be silent, red, ruby, make red. What am I saying? Mankind, man. It causes confusion. It's confusing, family. The Nekudot. So I'm open to debate on this topic. Teaching language correctly is important. It's how we communicate. Lashawan Qadash, at best, you have to rely on short sentences. Check it. In Hebrew, one word means multiple words. Like I said, Adam, I will be silent. Red, to make red. Ruby, mankind. Man, as in person, or as in a man. There's so many different meanings to Adam, and that's just one word. So the longer your sentences become, the more confusing they become. And also the longer the delay, because you as the listener, listening to somebody, you have to try to figure out what the person is saying. You have to choose what word they are using, because in Hebrew, one word means multiple words. So you would have confusion and you will have delay. I repeat, trying to have a conversation with Lashawan Qadash will cause confusion and a delay. And if you'd like to prove us wrong, please show us. Show us, prove us wrong. I have yet to see an elaborate conversation, a long conversation in Lashawan Qadash. Notice the camps, they do not have conversations amongst themselves in Lashawan Qadash. It has not been done. It has not been seen. I will say this. Maybe, just maybe, Lashawan Qadash is how Hebrew started. Maybe Hebrew did, in the beginning, just have ah sounds. Only the ah vowel. Maybe that's true. That can't be substantiated. That cannot be proven. Just assertions, conjecture. But if we're going to run with that, if we're going to run with the idea, with the notion, with the claim that ancient Hebrew, aka Lashawan Qadash, only had the ah sound, you mean to tell me that it didn't evolve? It stayed the same? You mean to tell me the language did not evolve? It may have started, it may have started with A sounds. That may be true. It has not been proven. But even if that's the case, it had to evolve. Even if that's the case, it had to evolve. Why? Because it was confusing and causing delays. So if you want to believe that it started in the all sound, if you want to believe that biblical Hebrew, if you want to believe that ancient Hebrew, which is the Lashawan Qadash, only had the A sound and maybe the I sound, go ahead and believe it. But what I'm saying, at some point, the language had to adjust. The language had to adapt. The language had to evolve. So maybe it's true. It just has not been proven. And even if that is the case, it had to evolve. It sounds like baby talk. It's baby talk. Yeah, Ema Bithia, tonight it's Real Talk Tuesday. Normally, you hear me preaching. I'm a preacher. That's what I do. I love preaching the word. It is an honor and privilege to preach the word. I'm thankful for the opportunity. But sometimes, in order to build up, you have to tear down. Sometimes, before you build, you have to tear down. I know this from being a carpenter by trade. That's right. I have a job. I'm not a begging preacher. I actually have a job. As a carpenter, when we go into a kitchen, we destroy the existing Christian. I said Christian. I meant to say kitchen. I said Christians on accident. When we go into a kitchen, we destroy the existing cabinets. We take them out. We demolish them. And we replace them with brand new cabinets. That is what we have to do with Hebrew. We have to take out the existing Hebrew that we are taught in our community, which is Lashawan Qadash. But not just take out, not just remove, not just take apart in order just to take apart, to just divide and to demolish. We're not taking away Lashawan Qadash just to be a hater, just to be about division. But we are taking out Lashawan Qadash in order to install biblical Hebrew in our homes. Why? Because biblical Hebrew allows us to read the biblical Hebrew. It allows us to speak the biblical Hebrew. It allows us to write the biblical Hebrew. It allows us to properly communicate. It allows us to understand the words that are coming out of our mouths. Lashawan Qadash doesn't. Lashawan Qadash adds confusion. It adds a delay. Even if Hebrew started, even if ancient Hebrew started with all sounds, which has not been proven, which is not true, it had to evolve. So as Israelites, let's step our game up. Let's step our game up. Let's step our game up. As a language, as a spoken, written language, let's remove Lashawan Qadash and install biblical Hebrew. Now, if you want to hold on to Lashawan Qadash, I suggest to treat it like Ebonics, slang. I'm still going to speak Lashawan Qadash. I will, as slang. But I'm not going to speak Lashawan Qadash to try to have a conversation with you. Why? Because I do not have the patience to try to figure out what in the world, what in the hell you are saying. And if I say something back to you in Lashawan Qadash, and it's a long, elaborate sentence like this, I'm going to save you the stress from figuring out what the hell that I'm saying. We're doing us both a favor. And if we're going to try to attempt to speak in Lashawan Qadash, we're going to do a whole lot of this, a whole lot of pointing, a whole lot of body language. I understand that body language is a part of communication. Body language is important. However, you're going to have to rely on it. You're going to really need it. And if you're over the phone, how are you going to do it? If you're over the phone, if I'm speaking on the phone to somebody, how are we going to have a conversation without you using body language and pointing? If we are texting back and forth, how am I going to figure out what in the world it is that you are saying? I'll have to resort back to the King James. I have to resort back to the biblical Hebrew to understand what it is you're trying to say. I'm not saying you have to throw Lashawan Qadash in the trash. What I'm saying is you can hold on to it as slang. So tonight I had to speak on it. I had to speak on it because we are misinforming the community when we are going out of our way and creating lectures and using sources that have nothing to do with your argument to attempt to prove that biblical Hebrew is flawed. What you are doing, you are deceiving the people. I have to speak on it tonight. This was opportunity. I would not preach on this topic. As a community, let's step our game up. Let's step up. Let's step up by learning language. Let's step up by learning how to communicate with one another. Let's step up by reading what the Hebrew is actually saying, what the Bible is actually saying. Let's step up by tapping in to biblical Hebrew. But if you say shalom around me, it's all good. I'm gonna say shalom back. Depending on how I feel. Now I'm gonna say shalom. It depends on how I feel, but it's cool. It's slang. It's slang. As melanated people, we know how to freak the language anyway. We freak the language. We freak English with Ebonics, with slang. So it's cool to make up words, but that's what it is. I'm just looking at it in perspective. Let's keep things in perspective. It's a cool slang, but it's not a language, an intelligible language we can go back and forth with. And I do not want to deceive the people. As a moray, I always say this. Any mistakes, be my own. I learned that catchphrase from Nasik Zarishadai Ben Yehuda, who I respect so much. I learned a lot from him. He always says, any mistakes, be my own. And it's true, because as a moray, I will make mistakes. But tonight, I am not making a mistake. Lashawan Qadash had to be addressed. I held back for so long. I bit my tongue to the point that it started to bleed. I had to speak on it. And this was out of love. All out of love, family. So if anybody goes back and makes a rebuttal video or response, it's all good. That's what I did with Pastor Kelly Richardson and Brian Scholar. Part of the reason why I made a response was the fact that I was invited to their live stream. I was invited to a live stream of theirs. The day before that live stream, you have to watch my video to understand. My video, my last week's Real Talk Tuesday, to understand where I have Pastor Kelly Richardson and me on the cover. You have to watch that live stream to fully understand what I'm saying. But I'm wrapping up, family. But what I'm saying is that I was invited to a live stream of theirs. I was invited the day before. Not only was I invited live on air. That's right. I was invited live on air to join their video the next day. Guess what? I joined the video the next day and I posed questions in the chat. They ran for my questions and I ended up getting blocked. I got blocked. That's right. Just for having opposing questions that they did not answer, by the way. Also, they took down the chat replay. Why'd you take down the chat replay? Were my questions too much? You didn't have no answers for me? Why did you take down the chat replay? But guess what? I screen recorded the chat. That way, the audience gets to see the interaction. You get to see that I remained respectful during the time I was on the chat. I got pushback from the moderator, from the chat, from Pastor Kelly Richardson, and from Brian Scholar as well. However, I did not disrespect them. I just had questions. They were saying that biblical Hebrew is Yiddish, it's modern Hebrew, it's German, blase, blase, blase. So tonight was one of those videos where I had to speak on it. Let's not deceive our people. Let's not deceive our babies. Let's not deceive our children. Let's not deceive our brothers. Let's not deceive our sisters. Let's not deceive each other by saying biblical Hebrew is trash and Lashawan Qadash is the real ancient Hebrew. Let's teach our children. Let's teach our brothers and our sisters the right way. Let's teach them biblical Hebrew. And all you got to do is go below this video in the description and enroll in the courses. All glory to Yah. Just looking at the chat. Yeah, family. So that's what I had in store tonight. There's more I can pull out, but I'm not going to. Somebody might challenge me on this. I may get a debate out of this. I would love to debate this topic. I would love to debate this topic because to me, this is important. I don't go out of my way to debate anybody, but if the moment calls for it, I will get in the ring and defend biblical Hebrew. That's how serious I am. Language is important. It's key. It's how we communicate with one another. But it's all good. Hey, if you continue to use Lashawan Qadash, I'll continue to use Lashawan Qadash anyway. I think it's cool in regards to being slang. It's cool. Like even the way like when you look at the word Yahweh, like Yahweh sounds Yahweh, the name of our creator. No name is above the name of our creator. The name of our creator is beyond our imagination, beyond our capability. The name Yahweh is powerful, mighty, and the sound of it is strong and mighty. Yahweh. I say Yahuwah, I say Yehovah, I say Yahweh, I say Yahweh as well. So I ain't gonna lie. At times, biblical Hebrew sounds pretty cool. But when you get into them long conversations or when you're attempting to have a conversation in general, that's when things get tricky. But, short sentences or short words, well, sentences, good luck with that. I don't know about no sentences, but short words like Shalom, Yahwadah. Now, I don't know about no Yahwadah. I'd rather just say Yehuda, Yahwadah. Or Todah is Tawada or Tawada. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong. But it's confusing. But this was out of love, family. I promise you. And I'm ready for the pushback. That's part of the assignment. That's part of the assignment. As the children of Yah, you're going to have people that are going to speak evil on you. You're going to have haters. It comes with it. And Yah allows those haters to come our way. That's right. And Yah builds up our resilience. He makes us tougher and stronger through those haters. So I'm expected to hear pushback. And as the children of Yah, let's not be afraid of the haters. Let's not be afraid of the pushback. Let's not be afraid of being hated. We fear Yah. That's right. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yah. Reshit Chokmah Yerat Yehovah. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yah. We do not fear man. We do not fear man. We do not fear Christians. We do not fear Hebrew Israelites. Even as Hebrew Israelites, we do not fear other Hebrew Israelites. We fear Yah. All praises to our great King. I'm checking the time right now. Okay, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. I'm about to head out here in a few seconds. I'd like to thank you, family, for joining this live stream. Thank you for listening to this video. I know some of this information was not easy to digest, but I appreciate you for taking out the time and hearing me out. Let's continue to love Yehovah, Yahweh, our Elohim. Let's continue to love Yahweh with all of our heart, all of our soul, and with all of our might. Make sure you check out the commercial on the way out, family. I'm your Moray, Jaydon Israel. Until next time, shalom, fam.